Parliament on Wednesday launched its 30-year celebrations of parliamentary democracy, and in his address, the majority leader Citi called for a constitutional reform that would put a cap on the number of ministers appointed by the president.
We need a constitutional order that will mitigate the winner takes all and prevent the do or die combat associated with our elections. We need a new constitutional order that will prevent the constant increase in the number of seats in Parliament. We need a new constitutional order that will put a cap in the number of ministers of state. A new order that will ensure that the Speaker of Parliament is a serving member of Parliament and that the Parliament of Ghana does not remain as one of only 9 parliaments in the world whose speakers are not members of Parliament. The Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, we play ostriches if we claim that the justifications, real or imaginary, for which military juntas intervene in the governance of this country have been totally eradicated. Neither can we also claim that our aspirations, as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution, have been achieved in their entirety. However, we have major achievements to show.
The minority leader, Dr. Kessie Alatoforsen, on his part, also urged members to reflect on the tenets of the military takeovers that took place within the first 3 republics of the country.
Mr. Speaker, as we celebrate Ghana's 30 years of stable parliamentary democracy, it is important to reflect on some of the issues that has resulted in the death of the first 3 republics. First, it has been suggested by the people behind the 1966 overthrow of the Nkrumah government that Nkrumah's government was abusive and corrupt, and that he failed to adhere to democratic principles. I do not intend to refute or assent to these allegations. I only seek to remind myself and all other politicians that any party in power should endeavor not to engage in an act that will suggest that to our people that we are abusive, corrupt, and undemocratic. Mr. Speaker, permit me to briefly comment on the issues that suggested to have provoked the overthrow of Prime Minister Buzia's government, the Progress Party, in 1972. Buzia's government is said to have inherited $580 million in debt, representing 25% of our GDP in 1969. By 1971, the $580 million has increased by $72 million in accrued interest payment and $296 million in short-term commercial credit. This led to economic difficulties which compelled Prime Minister Buzia to recommend to IMF and for IMF to introduce austerity measures that led to freeze in wages, increase in taxes, currency devaluation, and rising import prices. This led to protests, particularly by Trade Union Congress. Mr. Speaker, the army moved to occupy the TUC headquarters and block the roads. Mr. Speaker, the rest is history.
But the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, believes that without the needed human resources, the constitutional reforms would not yield the positive results.
We must focus on strengthening our democratic institutions, and we must focus on getting the right human resource to lead the country. You can keep on changing your constitutions. You can take whatever concept of governance you want. But if you don't get the right human resource correct, you can never develop your society. I believe in this state, if they send us to Singapore, Singapore will become undeveloped. So the main focus of development is the human resource. But by this time, we should have consolidated and now moving towards entrenching democracy in Ghana. But with all these changeovers, takeovers, and the rest, we are still struggling to consolidate democracy. And so that when you send somebody to go and buy something for you, and the person comes back and you ask for the balance or change, the person gets angry. That is undemocratic.
Reporting from Parliament, my name is Ni Ayukwe Okine for Citi News.